The Incarnates run a marathon in all 50 states of the USA, all this in 50 days. Doing the math, you can see that is one marathon per day. The average person, on the other hand, gets exhausted after only a few kilometers, just like I do, but this time was a bit different. I was going for an evening run. I decided to listen to episode 15 of the podcast No Dumb Questions. Usually, I have to walk for a bit after running a couple kilometers, but I kept going and going. You know you're not tired when you don't make red lights an excuse to stop. But how in the hell does a novice runner not get exhausted during a half marathon? Let's explore the spooky nature of sleep paralysis and our fears today on Can't Omega. Let me introduce you to the central governor. According to the central governor theory, there's this part of the brain which governs the energy supply of the body. When it feels like you're running low on energy, it sends signals of pain to the muscles, though it is very conservative with the energy usage to make sure you don't hurt yourself. Often it lies to you that you can't keep going anymore, but when you're in danger, stressed, it will stop sending pain signals and gives you extra boost. So stress enhances your physical and mental capabilities. Wait, why does everyone say stress is bad for you then? First, we need to see when stress is useful. Imagine being an impala chased by a tiger. The most important thing at this moment is, obviously, not getting catched by the tiger. Your body doesn't see beneficial to keep using energy for digestion or growth, but your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes faster, and your liver releases more energy for the muscles. You don't have time to worry about any injuries or your muscles being tired either, so you turn off pain reception. The stress could possibly save that impala's life. Stress is absolutely great in that situation. However, stress doesn't make a difference between actual threats and imagined or fake threats, which actually gives horror films and games their appeal. Well, at least for some people. Humans have been gifted with the power of prospection. Martin Seligman says that it is such a defining attribute of our species that he would even rename us Homo prospectus. Prospection is what separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom, but it is also our curse. What if someone jumped out from behind this corner? What if I fail the exam? What if I don't make it in time for the flight? What if North Korea starts a nuclear war? So we, humans, have the ability to anticipate the future. But if those kinds of thoughts is all we need to get stressed, it is no surprise we're susceptible to stress diseases. As we saw, stress is crucial when you're in danger, but you can see it could have negative consequences if chronic. You're gonna have a bad time if your digestive system is impaired for weeks or months at a time. And if your heart rate increases every time you go to work, it's going to damage the walls of your blood vessels. Then there's this syndrome called stress dwarfism, which appears in children who are psychologically stressed. Other symptoms of long-term stress include suppression of the immune system, impaired brain function, impaired learning, memory and judgment, erectile dysfunction, disruption of menstrual cycles. In the podcast episode I was listening to,
Hey, I'm Matt. This is No Dumb Questions.
Matt Whitman told about the time
10 years ago-ish,
when he's been the most scared in his entire life.
I was alone at a house.
The memory was clearly very vivid in his mind,
I am conscious of my surroundings. I'm conscious of my body.
as he could recall it with sharp detail.
I heard a rustling.
The story was an experience from 10 years back,
It was 06.
and it was an experience with... Hey! Whatever. Have you seen these interviews of people telling they were abducted by aliens? Or have you read about experiences of the Japanese feeling like they were held in place by metal chains at night? Or have you read the Bible and, for that matter, have you heard from Christians that the devil visited them at the night? Hey guys, draw what you saw. It suspiciously looks like they're almost the same very thing. Well, most professionals would argue that they are all cases of sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis.
At the time, it was clearly terrifying.
I'm like, crap, there is somebody in this house.
But even telling about something like that likely makes you a bit nervous.
And I hear the noise again, but this time it's not all the way on the other end of the house. It's at the end of the hallway. I could hear the noise. I couldn't move. And I managed to rotate my head just enough to see an 8 to 9 foot tall, featureless figure underneath the door, and it starts moving toward me.
Sleep paralysis is a temporary inability to move or speak that occurs when you're waking up or falling asleep. It's often accompanied with hallucinations, many times about a harmful presence being in the room with you. It's like your mind waking up to an augmented reality nightmare. Body controls are broken. People who have experienced sleep paralysis often report seeing these dark, slender figures. Visions of seemingly the same creature appear from the ancient Greeks to Inuits in subarctic Canada. Besides the hallucinations and the temporary paralysis, a pressing feeling on the chest is also common during a sleep paralysis episode, and sometimes people even feel like it's someone or something on their chest choking them. This couldn't possibly be true, let alone happen to me, right? Well, at least it has shaped our language all over the globe for sure. The Finnish word for nightmare is painajainen and translates to a little presser, and the French word this denotes to press or push. These words have most likely been linked to sleep paralysis originally, but over time they came to mean any bad dream. Oh yeah, how about the English word nightmare? Or should I say nightmare, the night demon? The first known description of sleep paralysis comes from Hippocrates. The Greeks named it ephialtes, which translates as to pounce upon someone. It would later be associated with a god who, during ephialtes, could have sex with the dreamer. This was seen as a promise of great future income. Christianity would be the first to flip this positive association to being negative. The incubi and succubi emerged. They were demons who sexually harassed their victims. In some cultures, like Japan and among the Inuit people, sleep paralysis is attributed to human origin. In Japan, the kanashibari, or sleep paralysis, can emerge through the spell of a summoner who uses a vengeful spirit to suffocate their enemies. Similarly, the Inuits believe that shamans induce sleep paralysis on their enemies as they sleep. They would do this to separate the body from the soul, as the connection between these two is fragile during sleep. The separation of the body and the soul would ultimately kill the victim. Since the 50s, people have started reporting being abducted by aliens. I guess the aliens just found Earth back then. What's common in these alien abduction reports? There are flashing lights and bright objects. The feeling that you're unable to move. There's a threatening presence and you're being levitated. But all of those are also common sleep paralysis symptoms. Coincidence? I don't think so. But why does sleep paralysis happen? For that, I'll have to tell you a bit about dragons. Dragons have an interesting story on their own too. Go watch this video about it Kevin from Vsauce 2 made last year if you haven't seen it. But a big takeaway is that dragons seem to be a combination of the three main predators of primates: snake, leopard and eagle. So maybe the dragon is an obvious reflection of our fears. Fear is a mechanism to protect us from danger. One of the first fears we can observe in a newborn baby are the fear of loud noises and the fear of abandonment. Throughout evolution, the most important thing for children at this age has been to stay close to their mother, hence the fear of abandonment. The fear of heights is very common, and essentially it originates from the fear of falling. Certain animals are sources of fear for many. Other common phobias are the fear of closed spaces, which might be to avoid suffocating, fear of darkness, and the fear of unfamiliar adult males that isn't only common in humans. What is the mechanism that determines what we develop fears against and what we don't? It's the amount of time specific items have been dangerous to our species during our evolutionary history. Snakes have been around for 100 million years, so showing lab monkey videos of a wild monkey being afraid of a snake gets the lab monkey to adopt the same behavior. So monkeys have a predisposition to fear snakes, but so do we. What were some of our fears again? Fear of darkness? Fear of loud noises? Fear of unfamiliar adult males? Humans are also more prone to developing fears on things they can't control. And the fear of closed spaces rephrased to fear of suffocation. So, perhaps sleep paralysis is a reflection of our fears, the same way as dragons were to us before. While you're recalling a memory, you can re-immerse yourself in the experience, and doing that isn't entirely optional either. If you're talking about the positive experience you've had, it cheers you up, and if what you're talking about was something stressful, or even traumatic, your blood pressure increases. You might get dizzy or start stuttering, but you might not even be able to tell about it to anyone for decades. Humans are built for verbal communication. A study done in 2010 shows this. It found that if we measure someone's brain activity while they're telling a story, and we measure the activity in another person's brain while they're listening to the same story, the listener's brain activity will mirror that of the storyteller's. Also, the better the listener comprehends what's being said, the better we can see a connection in the brain scans. As feelings come from the brain activity, talking is our way to transfer them. So, if Matt got scared telling his story, so did I. So now my central governor believes I'm in danger. So to keep me alive, it enhanced my physical performance by stopping any pain, releasing extra energy for my muscles, stopping any unnecessary processes. I don't have to grow my hair or fingernails if I'm in danger, or digest food. I have to